In the second half of the 13th century, an Italian young man named Marco Polo came to China after a long journey and returned with his record of what he saw and heard, which roused the first wave of China fever in the West. In January 2020, the Italian ambassador to China, Mr. Luca Ferrari, flew from Riyadh directly to Beijing with a temperature difference with 27 degrees, opening a new chapter of his stories with this Oriental country.
What was dramatic was the climate, because I came from a Saudi Arabian winter where the temperature was about 25, 27 degrees, a little bit like Hainan. Yeah. And I arrived in Beijing. It was quite a temperature shock for me. Yeah. I was always cold the first days. Then I discovered the good Chinese habit of drinking hot water, so I started drinking an enormous amount of tea and hot water all the time. I, of course, like everybody, had studied Chinese history in my times at university. I have visited China when I was younger. I have not worked professionally in China, not on a stable base. I visited China for business, let's say on a mission quite some time ago. But of course, who doesn't know about China? You know, we're not speaking... It's like the elephant in the glass shop. You can't ignore China. I'm not a sinologue, but I did know about China quite well.
The beginning of his tenure colliding with the outbreak of COVID-19, Ambassador is well aware of all the adversities and difficulties along the way.
As you can imagine, to start a tenure in a crisis with an international pandemic is dramatic, to say the least. First, we had the pandemic here, and there was general panic among the Italian community in China. So we, thanks to the great collaboration with the Chinese authorities, we were able to evacuate the Italians from Wuhan. Then, slowly, we evacuated, or we facilitated those Italians who were in panic to leave China and go back to Italy. I have to tell you that at least 60% of the Italian community stayed in China. And we actually have quite a few Italians who stayed in Wuhan. We tried our best to send help to China. We were able to send 3 cargo planes of medical equipment to Wuhan directly. So we were quite happy for the help we gave to China. And we had the epidemic, the peak of the epidemic in Italy, which was a horrible moment for our country. But we had a lot of help from China. We had 3 teams of Chinese doctors went to Italy, doctors who had been trained on the field in Wuhan and who were of great, enormous help. We worked a lot with the International Red Cross of China and with the Chinese authorities, and an enormous amount of protection gear was donated. I think about 10% of everything that we brought from China to Italy, as far as masks, ventilators, gloves, etc., was donated by the Chinese government, municipal authorities, universities, friendship committees, city to city. There was a gigantic and I would say very generous donation effort on behalf of all of China from the government top down. So that was quite a very strong show of sympathy on behalf of China to Italy. A show of love, I would say, from China to Italy.
Marching through this tough time, Ambassador Ferrari has more expectations for the future of Italy-China relations.
Italian firms have a strong footing here in China. They have a strong presence. There are more than 1,400 Italian companies that operate in China, among them all the big companies. So we will have in Shanghai approximately 72 Italian firms participating, more than 70. Now keep in mind that last year, when it was completely open, there were about 140 Italian companies who went. So the fact that 70 will still go is not bad for an exposition that is closed to outdoor companies. I could say that I see the economic and commercial and financial ties developing strongly in the coming 10, 20 years, maybe even more. I would hope that there will be a stronger Italian-Chinese commercial flow, but I think it's the economic and people-to-people ties that are going to develop a lot. You know, Italy and China are at the same time 2 cultural powers, So there's a lot to do in the field of culture, but there's also a lot which comes with it to do in the field of tourism. Well, you know, the BRI is like a toolbox or a framework which allows Italy and China to enhance its economic, commercial, financial cooperation. And I think in the years to come, the BRI will be an important vehicle to enhance the relationship between our two countries, definitely. When we get back up from this shock, the BRI will be something more that others don't have.